Well, that helps bring you up to speed on the changes that have taken place in the original Pinellas by Design plan, and we'll have you the rest of the time. You're going to be hearing some updates on the data side of it, some updates to those recommendations. And right now I'm going to present you with a quick overview of some of the current economic and demographic trends. A lot of interesting data that people, you live here every day but don't realize the importance of some of this to the economy and the way our population is moving. So first of all, just looking at the population, I mean, these are the net numbers. This is, basically within about a 1% range, we've stayed pretty stable for the past 15 years. Not a lot of change in the net numbers of population. However, every year we're having huge churning within the population itself. When you go deeper and you look at who is coming and who is leaving Pinellas County, you see a lot of differences here. One is our natural rate of growth is negative. We have more deaths than births every single year. So in order to even stay at that level population, we got to bring in about 3,000 new residents every year just to break even. And then we do, fortunately, have achieved those numbers. Our net domestic migration, people from elsewhere in the country moving in, has been growing over the past 3 years. The recession, the worst of the recession in Pinellas County was in January of 2010. So you can see that we've been growing in our in-migration ever since. And then even our international migration has stayed pretty stable, but still growing slightly. You can dig down a little bit deeper here and you see, and the previous slide was net numbers. This is raw numbers. These are the number of households based on IRS tax filings that actually move in and out every year. So we've got basically based by number of exemptions, that would be a rough estimate of population. We have 38,000 people moving into Pinellas County every year and 36,000 basically leaving. And then you couple that with the difference in the births and deaths rate, about 50,000 people every year change over in Pinellas County. And if you go for a 10-year period, when you look at the year 2000 to the year 2010, half of the people who live here today did not live here 10 years ago, even though our population is about the same. So when people say we don't want anything to change, you can't stop change. Half of us are different now. These are where people are coming, what people are going to. This is where our folks are leaving the county, and mostly they're going to surrounding areas. We are an interconnected economy. The Tampa Bay economy is such that, most workers don't pay attention to county lines. They're crossing them every single day. The other places they're going are Southeast Florida and Orlando primarily. And then the top 10 states, people are leaving, migrating from Pinellas to the large states around the country, obviously, but they're also going to our competitor states, Georgia, Texas, North Carolina, and Tennessee. These are the active projects that we compete for every day. These are areas where jobs are being created. So folks are leaving our area to go there, as well as naturally the larger states are going to have a greater number of people going. Now, migrating into Pinellas, again, most of these are the same counties. They're the Tampa Bay area. The people are coming in and out every day, and the numbers are very similar to each other. So we just really see it's a very fluid line between Pinellas and our surrounding counties. And again, we get people coming into Pinellas from the Southeast Florida and Orange County. Top 10 states migrating into, we get a lot of Rust Belt states, people coming here from elsewhere. Interesting, in Georgia, they're very similar numbers, but we actually have more people now that are coming here from Georgia than going to Georgia. And for a long time, we felt like Atlanta was stealing all our good quality workers. It's beginning to turn around, and we're seeing people getting fed up with Atlanta traffic and coming back here. Our population distribution by age and sex, this is really pretty fascinating too, as far as the mixes that have occurred. Again, this is looking at that 10-year period where half the people are different today than were in year 2000. Obviously, the biggest thing you notice is the baby boomers got 10 years older, so that whole thing moved north. But we also saw a decrease in the percentage of our population that are in the 70 to 85-year-old. Our retirees many of the low-income retirees especially have gone elsewhere. It's gotten to be more expensive to live in Pinellas County, and we're seeing that number drop. We also are seeing a positive thing, an increase in the 20-year-old to 29-year-old population. We're getting residence halls at the University of South Florida, St. Pete, so people are actually living here for going to school, and that is helping. Plus, it's a more attractive area for younger people with that urban environment in St. Pete. We're seeing the age drop considerably there. The other big difference is the 30 to 40-year-olds are dropping dramatically as a percentage of the total population. Part of that is we don't have housing for new families. They have to go to Pasco County or Hillsborough County to find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home on a single family. And they're fine with downtown, with condos, with apartments that are going up dramatically for that 20 to 29-year-old and for the empty nesters. But that 30 to 40-year-old, we are losing that population. The other thing about the baby boomers is, yes, they got older, but they also increased in number. So we are attracting baby boomers to our area. The empty nesters are coming to live here for the first time. So those are the kind of the changes when you drill down deeper. As far as our economy is concerned, this is how the different sectors break out. Healthcare is our biggest single sector. 4 of the top 10 employers in Pinellas County are hospitals. So it is a major component because we still do have a high median age and we have the boomers getting older. It's a big part of our economy. Retail trade comes in second. About 13% of the jobs are in retail trade. When you add together the hotel, motel, and the restaurant, it's about 13% also. So that tourism component is about 13%. The rest are, what we call target employers, those that bring new money into the economy because they're selling their product elsewhere. When you add all of those up, and that would be manufacturing and professional and technical services, the information sector, finance and insurance, management of companies, corporate headquarters, you add up those segments, that's 25% of the workers are in those target industries. So in a way, if you look at it as a whole, target industries are our major employer right now, more even than the healthcare sector. Here's an interesting way to look at how we're broken down by jobs. This is comparing the importance of these sectors to Pinellas County employment compared to the state as a whole. So when the number is at 1, like real estate and rental and leasing, real estate employment in Pinellas County is the same percentage of total employment as it is in the state as a whole. But when you look at management of companies and enterprises, that's corporate headquarters. We're over twice as many people work in corporate headquarters facilities in Pinellas than in the state of Florida as a whole. 76% more people work in manufacturing in Pinellas than in the state as a whole. We, in fact, are the second largest concentration of manufacturing workers in the state of Florida. 30,000 people go to work making stuff in Pinellas every day. Only Miami-Dade has more, and they have a lot of food processing and apparel that tend to be on the lower wage scale, whereas we have electronic components, medical devices, Defense Department products that are very high wage. And so we really are one of the leaders of manufacturing in Florida and the Southeast. Healthcare is 23% higher than the state as a whole. Professional and technical services are some computer careers, data centers. There are lawyers, CPAs, architectural engineering firms, those kinds of highly skilled professional workers, and they're 13% higher. Finance and insurance, folks like Raymond James, 10% higher. Information is even, that's the true programming and data center, data processing side of things, 3% higher. On the other side, it's interesting, we think of Pinellas as a tourism destination. But the percentage of our workforce that goes to work in tourism jobs is actually lower than the percentage in the state of Florida as a whole. That's because we have a very diverse economy here. We're not just tourism. We have many, many different sectors that are operating. And as such, it's not as important to Pinellas as it is to the state of Florida. Looking at our annual average wage, the Southeast tends to be lower than the nation as a whole. It's always been true. It's still true here. The sad thing is that our wage in Pinellas is actually the gap between us and the national average wage is spreading. Our wage is growing, but not as rapidly as the country as a whole. And for a few years, in 2011 and 2012, Pinellas' average wage was actually higher than the state. Unfortunately, in 2013, and we haven't got the numbers yet obviously for 2014, but it's looking like we're falling back even and maybe a little bit below the state average wage. And part of that is due to the recovery and the banner years we've been having in tourism, because those tourism jobs are very low wage and they tend to dilute the average within the county. This is kind of a close-up here. $43,494 is the Pinellas average wage. We're the 7th largest and highest wage in the state, but those who are also above us tend to be the large counties. So that's why the average wage of the state is a little bit higher than Pinellas, because the large predominance of the population are actually earning more. Hillsborough obviously is earning a little bit more than we are on an average wage. But you look again at the tourism side, Orange County, a very heavy tourism area, the average wage is lower than Pinellas. And this is a little slide to show where our people are working. 125,000 people that live in Pinellas County, part of our labor force, are working in one of the surrounding counties. And that's a third of our labor force. So a third of the people who are workers, the employment within the county, are actually working somewhere else. And, but with those who are working within the county, the residents tend to work in the Gateway area, up in Oldsmar and the industrial area north of downtown Oldsmar, downtown St. Pete, downtown Clearwater, and the Tyrone area, and the entire area along Bryan Dairy Road. When we take a look at people coming the other way, there's 136,000 people who work here who live in the surrounding area. So we actually have more people coming in here, taking a job, and then taking their paycheck home outside the county. So we're actually seeing part of the funds flow away from Pinellas County, because we're not really a bedroom community, we're a job community, and people go elsewhere because of the housing, the lack of affordable housing in the 30 to 40-year-old category where they're starting families. A lot of that is what's happening. We take a look at this is kind of a focus on the earnings that's actually going back and forth. In the height of the recession, we actually had $471 million worth of payroll that was being earned by non-residents. So they were coming here for that job and taking their money and going home and paying their taxes elsewhere and buying stuff elsewhere. That's dropped back down to $170 million, but it's still negative. We're still losing money from the jobs that are here that are going elsewhere. The unemployment rate is good news. We were one of the highest in the country. The high unemployment rate was in January of 2010, and that was 12.3% in Pinellas County. And the most recent data, this was August data you see on the slide, but for September we're down to 5.8%. So we can all be thankful that that rate has dropped so dramatically. We lost 61,000 jobs from the peak in year 2007. It was July 2007 through January 2010. We have regained about 51,000 jobs, but we're still 10,000 jobs short of our peak. We're about 84% back, but we still got a ways to go. Our labor force also dropped. People left the area, people stopped looking for work. Our labor force is now about 85% recovered, so we are recovering in both of those areas, but we've got a ways to go yet. This is the sheer number of workers in Pinellas County. This is where the majority of the people go to work, what they do every day. The largest category is retail salespersons. 15,000 people work for $12.31 or less a day. And we got customer service reps, waiters and waitresses, so on. Only registered nurses and frontline supervisors of office administrative workers earn more than our average wage. These are the top 20 occupations, and they all earn below the average in the sheer number of people who are earning those wages. Looking at occupations gaining the most jobs, these are the sheer numbers of jobs that are being created. These are the openings that were available in 2013. Again, the numbers are really, the only jobs that are above are the software developers and applications programmers that are above average. Everything else, well, and the insurance sales agents. But all the other sheer number of jobs that are being created, the openings that are out there, are again below average wages. The good news is that our fastest growing occupations, the percentage change, the momentum that is coming in the new industries is all in favor, pretty much, of the high wage jobs. All of these jobs earn considerably more than the average wage, with the exception of the small engine mechanics. But, they're the lowest on the list. But you can see that that's the positive news. We want these types of jobs. They're high wage, and they also tend to bring new money into the economy. Again, we're fortunate to have a good diversity of employers in Pinellas County in these high-wage fields. And you'll notice, these are a lot of nationally known names. They are Fortune 500 companies like Jabil. They're, our prime defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Honeywell and Raytheon. There are medical device companies. They're just a wide variety, and that helps us tremendously as we go through defense contract cycles, as we go through, Obamacare and other health-related issues with our medical device companies and the surtax that they're being placed on medical devices. All of these things, it's good to have a diverse base, and we are fortunate to have that. On the business services and corporate headquarters sides, again, another great group of companies that are in a variety of industries. Tech Data is another Fortune 500 company we have here. We have headquarters operations for General Dynamics. They're a defense company, but what we have is the headquarters for 2 of their major units right here in Pinellas. We have a large a big data complex here with Nielsen, with Raymond James has data, but Catalina, Cox Media, the Valpak people, Home Shopping, all of them have huge databases of consumer purchasing information, and then we have major processes of consumer transactions in PSCU and FIS. So that is beginning to be a subcluster that we're going to develop in the future. Looking at the changes that occurred, this is where what led us into the recession, obviously, is the residential building permits and commercial and office building, construction just shut down in 2007, 2008. We're beginning to see a return in that. We had 3,000 new building permits issued in 2013. In our latest development update, we've got about 8,400 residential units that are permitted or under construction right now. So we are recovering back. In fact, that 8,000 number would push it way off that graph. So we're excited about the construction that is coming back. Looking at, again, the single-family home sales, fortunately the price is going up slightly, and the number of homes are being sold and the inventories are dropping, so even with existing home sales, it's getting better. In office space, we are seeing some improvement there. There's still a lot of space available, but the vacancy rates are dropping and the rental rates are increasing, the 2 trends that we want to see that allow us to build additional space in the future. So we're starting to get there, but again, both the rental rate is lower than it had been at its peak, and our occupancy rate our vacancy rate is still too high. Industrial flex space, you're seeing kind of the same trends. It's we're pretty low actually on the amount of vacancy of space, and much of what's left in our vacant industrial space is very substandard. There are low ceilings, too close, too tight column spacings, older buildings that are metal that are falling apart. So the inventory, even though we got 8% vacancy, a lot of that is not very attractive to our highest wage employers. And you'll notice that the rental rates are so low that it's hard to be able to build anything new and be able to get, $4 or $5 a square foot. That's not very productive for people that are trying to build that kind of space and make $1 off it. And then I just do want to point to you to our Pinellas Economic Development Update. This is a detailed list of all of the major projects that are underway in the county right now, and it's available on our website at www.pced.org/redevelopment. And that's pages and pages of details of projects all over the county that are going on. So I just wanted to get you some background information on which to continue our discussions as we move forward in the day.